I thought because I've hardly been doing that.
Hi, everyone. We are here to do our Christmas card, Stamp a Stack number 2, Blue Christmas. You guys voted and you wanted all the blues for snowflake cards. I couldn't believe no one wanted my pink and green. I am still determined to make one of those cards. And in fact, maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'll make it Monday in one of those other color combos because I really like the alternative colors. But today we are doing stamping with lots of, well, not lots of snowflakes, but enough. There's 3 cards, 3 designs. You're making 6 of them, so 2 of each. And I'm focusing on a different stamping technique with the snowflake for each one. Now, there was a lesson learned yesterday in that I shouldn't teach techniques in Stamp-A-Stack classes. I should be only teaching those in 3-card classes. But lucky for you guys, I had a lot of learnings from the in-person that now I've rearranged the cards and how we make them, so it'll be easier for you, less frustration. But we definitely won't do those same techniques come next month's Stamp-A-Stack. But still, they're fun, and I think the cards are beautiful. And I have to agree with you guys, whoever voted for the blues, they do look really, really good. And I'll just show you the comparison when we make them, kind of what they look like. I'm going to move my camera down so that you guys can see what we're doing, because I think that that's kind of important. First of all, does everyone, because I know you guys all had troubles getting in the group, does anyone need to go fill their water spritzer bottle? One of
Oh,
the supplies that you need is your water spritzer bottle. You've got a little packet inside your Stamp-A-Stack kit that looks like this. And I guess I better spotlight myself so you guys can see me big. So you guys have a lovely little kit that's got a snowflake stencil, it's got a spritzer, and it's got a blending brush. We're actually going to be blending with 3 different colors. So if you're someone who's a crafter and has a bunch of different colors already, you might want to grab a brush, pardon me, to use with Pool Party, Boho Blue, and Navy Blue, and Garden Green. So 4 of them. But I'm also able to put this in such a way that we should be able to use it, I'm hoping, card by card, and that you can just use the same brush. So don't stress if you don't have any others. We will use this one. And it's the one-of-a-kind stamp set and dies. Even when I went to go try to edit my supply list, I couldn't. I wasn't able to. So I have no idea what was going on today. I have 2 sets. If you buy the dies that go with the bundle, you just get 1 of each size. But I had another set to sell, and I was going to sell it, except during class yesterday, after we used this for the first card, do you think I could find my dies? No, there was 3 of us hunting them. I literally had to have just set them down, but no one could find them, so I had to open the second package. And then guess what? At the end of the night, I turn around to grab my cup, and there they were sitting on my paper trimmer. I was like, come on. Why? Why? Anyway, so this is the set we're using. If you don't have this set, grab another one, something similar, but these are the sizes of the stamps that we're going to be using for all of our projects. Now, again, the color combo that we're using is, well, I think I wrote gray granite, but it's actually smoky slate that we're playing with some navy blue and boho blue. Total snow colors. And here are the cards that we're going to be making. So remember, this particular card, I had it with the pool party before. I mean, and it still works. It's beautiful. Except when I went to go make this one with everyone yesterday, I totally forgot. I still used pool party instead of the boho blue. But the lighter color looks really nice there. So we'll see what we end up doing. I might try it with the boho blue just to see what it looks like. And then we've got our little fun card where we're doing a little bit more shabby stamping, I guess you can say, but it has some bling, a little bit of glitter with glitter paper on the sides. We've got a little piece of bling bling, and then we have some shiny paper. And this is just a little flip pocket card. that flips like that. So you can either tuck a note, like write your note in there, or tuck something special, but it still opens up like a regular card. And then we have this last one, which is just the gray card. I think I mentioned this before. I wanted to use the snowflake paper, but unfortunately, no matter what you did, boho blue and night of navy just did not go with it. So you're still getting a little bit of pool party with some gray, but this one's my favorite card, which is weird because, but anyway. Oh yeah, you also want your Wink Stella most likely. And you guys heard about this thing called a postal strike? So, funny enough, though, it's not as bad as we think it is. They're still delivering the essential checks and everything to people, but it's just a rotating strike. So, not all areas are affected. They're still delivering mail. They're still guaranteeing. So, if you go to the mailbox and you ask for a 2-day delivery guarantee, they're guaranteeing it as long as it's not in one of the rotating strike zones. Yeah. So it's interesting to find out. So in case you're still needing to send something. But anyways, all that to say is that I placed an order 2 weeks ago with Stampin' Up, but they decided because Canada Post went on strike that they weren't shipping anything. They put all orders on hold.
I thought they shipped UPS, so what does that have to do with Canada Post?
I know, that's what we've all been saying, but apparently, I don't know if they reroute certain orders so that it goes to PO boxes. Like, I don't know if UPS maybe does something with Canada Post that we don't know about. Anyways, there was enough complaints, and then they finally released it. So my order is not actually scheduled to be here until like next week, Wednesday. I'm like, that's insane. But anyways, all that to say, my paper never showed up that I ordered for this class or kind of the extra embellishments. So I ended up having to use all my 12 by 12 paper. So you guys are going to be cutting your white paper yourself. So that's the only thing that's not pre-cut. So we're actually going to start the class by cutting what we need with the 12 by 12 piece that's in your kit. And it kind of worked out good because I needed something to package your kits in. And so this way I got to use the 12 or the 14 by 14 cellos. So grab your paper trimmer, grab your 12 by 12 piece of white cardstock, and we are starting to trim the 12 by 12 piece of paper at 4¼ inches.
What are we making?
We're just cutting all of our white paper for that we need for our cards.
Like, but not for card bases.
No, not for card bases. This is okay. All the other stuff. So you need 12 by 12.
Did you say 4¼ inches?
Yeah, we're cutting it down at 4¼ inches. And then you're going to turn that 12 by 4¼ inch strip. And you're going to cut off 2 pieces at 2½ inches. So 2 pieces at 2½. And then you're going to cut what's remaining in half, which should be 3½ inches. So that leaves you with 2 3½ pieces and 2 2½ pieces. And then you're going to take what's left and rotate it, and you're going to just cut that in half. And so you're going to cut that to 6 inches, which is directly half. So then you should be left with 2 7¾ inches by 6 inches. Look at all the fuzzies. And I literally just changed my blade a week ago.
What number? Like 3 and a what?
Sorry?
I lost you when we did it at 2¼
Mm-mm.
No, so your first cut, so your first piece is 4¼ by 2½.
Right.
You need 2 of these. And then you cut what's remaining in half, which is at 3½.
Oh, 3½. Okay.
No, and that's good. And even for the people who are going to catch this later, I know we're all kind of cutting at different speeds, so. Okay, and then what is remaining, you're going to cut in half at 6 inches, so that they should be 6 inches by 7 3/4 inches. And so we're going to start our stamping first. So you're going to need a piece of paper. Sorry, the 6 inch by 7 3/4 inch. This is what we're going to use to stamp our snowflakes on. You're going to need your big snowflake. And you're going to use boho blue or pool party. I kind of like, I'm going to try this with the boho blue. No, just wait.
If you don't have boho blue, what would you recommend as another
Pool
color?
party.
Oh, pool party?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you say a big snowflake?
Big snowflake, yeah.
Pool party. Okay.
I don't think I have any of those.
The ink?
No, the snowflakes.
Oh, you don't have the one of a kind snowflake set?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, do you have
Any
a snowflake?
snowflakes at all from before, Lorette?
Yeah, I think I do. I'll be back. I think it's downstairs.
Okay. And this is where, if you have a separate brush from the one I gave you, because for this one, we're using Night of Navy ink with it. Because we also need, you guys are all experienced crafters, right? I think you guys have multiple sponges. Because the other one we're going to need is for pool party and garden green. I just want to make sure that.
Okay, so what color are we stamping the first snowflake with? Pool party or boho blue?
Boho blue.
Yeah, boho blue or pool party. I use pool party in my sample, but I want to try it. I'm going to try it with boho blue and see what it looks like. So maybe
It looks
let
nice.
me try it first, and then you can decide which one you like. Gloria, do you have blending brushes? I think you won a set, didn't you?
I just have that one.
Oh, okay.
Would it be okay, or should I get a sponge?
It'll be fine. Just don't try not to saturate the blending brush so that we can rub off the ink easily.
Okay.
So it doesn't wreck your, well, yeah, so that it doesn't wreck your garden green color.
Okay. I think it's an old one, but I'll see how it goes.
Okay. Is Lorette looking for her snowflake stamp set still? Is that where she went downstairs?
Yep.
No.
Okay, so I'm using boho blue, smoky slate, and night of navy and garden green tonight. So those are the 4 ink pads that we're using. But for this particular card, we're just using boho and night of navy. And I can't seem to find my stencil, so I don't know if I packaged it in someone's package, but we're going to use this one. Hopefully everyone got a stencil in their pack.
Nobody's saying no, so I guess not.
Okay, well, you know what? While we're waiting, I can get you guys to fold your card bases. You can go ahead and fold your card bases. Now, you'll notice I did not pre-score them. We had a discussion in one of our last classes, and it was preferred not to have them pre-scored for folks. So,
Interesting.
yeah. So I will no longer do that unless I'm a lot of beginners. But otherwise, you can just fold them in half or pull out your score blade.
Yeah, I have one envelope that has no. Oh no, never mind.
Yeah, all of your card supplies were tucked in one envelope with an
Yeah.
extra envelope tucked in behind it.
Yeah, I just remember that.
Because you know, it really sucks that Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell those cello bags anymore. But I guess
I
it's
have
better.
lots. You want to buy some?
What's that?
I have lots. You want to buy a pack?
Yeah, I'll buy whatever anyone wants to get rid of.
No, I can't find them.
Oh no.
I'll catch it on the replay, I guess.
Sounds good. I mean, you can improvise with whatever you want, but that's the stamp set we're using. Okay, so we're gonna do some stamping first. And with this, what I'm doing is I'm stamping in my boho blue. So again, maybe just wait to see whether or not we like this because I haven't done it in this color. So what I've done is I've completely inked in boho blue. And if you're using Pool Party, that would be Pool Party that you're substituting. But I'm taking my Night of Navy and I'm taking my blending brush and I'm just tapping in my navy ink pad. And then I'm just randomly tapping over my snowflake. And so it's just like a little tap. So the snowflake kind of pops up like this. So it's a lot different than this snowflake because I use Pool Party, right? With Night of Navy. So you can really see the lightness. But I'll do this again. You'll need a cloth or your cleaner nearby because you'll want to clean it in between each one just because the boho blue is lighter than that navy. And it could just be I was too scared to pick ink on mine. So I'm just going to make sure that this is nice and inky. And I'm just randomly tapping so that it's sporadic. No, actually, that looks really nice. I'm going to stick with this because then that way it'll match the paper. And so what you actually need is you need 3 snowflakes per card.
Of this snowflake?
Yeah, of this snowflake. 3 snowflakes per card. So you'll need total of 6 snowflakes. Again, stamping in your lighting first and then just tapping on the snowflake with the darker color. Now you're going to want to leave a little bit of space. If you have the dies, you can use, like, you want to make sure they're spread so you can cut them out with the dies, or just use your scissors to cut around. But when you go to cut, and I mean, I'll go over this again, small ones are the inner side of the big snowflake. So that's why we're stamping 6 big snowflakes, but only 2 of them are going to remain large. You're going to cut the other ones down, if that makes sense. Are you guys listening to Christmas tunes now?
I did last week in the car with the boys.
Oh, that's nice.
I did this week while I was working, yeah.
Well, you had your little workshop going on downstairs?
Yep.
That's awesome.
We're supposed to do 6, Trisha?
Yeah. And we are salvaging all the scraps of the white paper. Just as an FYI, don't throw it in the garbage after you cut them out. We're using them all.
Okay. Oops. So we cut out 3 big ones.
2 big ones, 1 for each card, and 2 small ones for each card. So 4 small ones.
No, say that again.
You need 2 because you're making 2 cards, so 2 big ones and 4 small ones.
Oh,
So I'm just going to bring my cut up here and then you guys can see what it is I'm doing. So I'm putting my snowflake on there. See, it's kind of good and handy that I got 2 of them because then I can cut way more out at once. Tip, you guys might want to buy another set of the, depending how many things you make. So, but with the small one, you're just lining that up to the center of the snowflake. And I found it works best when I line the tips to the big points, not the small points. If that makes sense. But again, if you're using scissors and just cutting them out by hand, you're just cutting the small snowflake around the center. Lined up okay.
So line up where the holes are on the little one to the big points.
Yeah,
Is that
on the big, to the
Okay.
big pieces. I found
Okay,
that it just
got
worked
it.
better when I did
Yep.
that rather than lining up to the small points.
Okay.
I got more of the image. Let me poke this out and see. Yeah, it looks like it. You can see already from the stamp pieces. And it like perfectly cuts it out almost if I had it lined up. I'm not worried about poking out all the little pieces because they're going to be tucked behind. They're going to fall out naturally. So don't worry about poking all the little pieces. And I'm just going to set my snowflakes aside once I have those cut out. And then the next, after you guys get your snowflakes cut out, you can pull out all the other pieces of your own out of your envelope. And if you've got the falling snow embossing folder, you can pull that out. Again, I put it in the comments because I couldn't edit the supply list. In case you're looking for the supplies, the falling snow embossing folder is one of them. And you'll notice that I don't have the label on this one. This was the one I had last year that I knew I had, but I couldn't find it for the like of me. So I had to order myself a new one. So now I got 2 of these suckers. So who knows, maybe if someone's playing Craft Room Clean Out Bingo, you might get a falling snowflake embossing folder in your kit. But all that to say, obviously I emptied an old box that needed to be put away. And then what you're doing is you're running your frames that are pre-cut for you. The centers, we can use them for the inside of the cards to use for journaling, or you can just use them to make a fun tag afterwards. It's entirely up to you. I've got a bunch of pieces here, but you're just going to run. And if you don't have the embossing folder, that's okay. You can skip that part. It's just I have, I don't know.
what are we embossing, Trisha? Just the outside?
Just the frame. Yeah,
Okay.
just the frame. Now, some of you are going to be lucky because when I was going through my stash of my ink colors, I had some scraps of the two-tone paper in the in colors. So I cut it all up and cut out as many frames as I could with it. So I randomly tucked in one of these in people's kits. So you might be a lucky one who has the shiny embossing, which will just be cool to emboss because then you can sand it and give it that cool effect. So I'm going to run that through.
Okay, I don't have any frames.
You don't have these things?
No.
What did you have in your envelope?
Which
Just,
I had just blue card base.
like just there was only two navy cardstocks in there. That's it.
Yeah. And 2 pieces of white and some silver ribbon. Or glitter paper, I see.
What?
Check on one of the other envelopes, Chantel.
Yeah, they're all sitting right here, Cheryl. There's nothing in them.
Okay.
All of that.
An idea.
Okay, well, I'm embossing yours for you then, Chantel.
Okay, what is the frame from?
Well, it's just a cutout of 4 by 5 1/4, and then I use the
It's boho blue though, right?
yeah.
Deckled.
And then yes, thank you. The deckled rectangle dies, but you can just cut it out yourself with a frame.
What's the embossing?
It's the falling snow, so I'm just setting up my embossing folder right now with it.
Falling snow.
Falling snow embossing folder. It's got the snowflakes on it.
I'm using the snowflake sky.
That's what I have too.
Well, use whatever you have. Doesn't matter.
Oh shoot, I probably have boho blue.
Okay, so
And
I'm
some
putting
night
the
marker.
frame inside the embossing folder. I'm layering it with the gray, which is the embossing folder plate. For some reason it doesn't want to go through. There we go. Oh, I know. See, if you're having troubles, it's because there's an extra layer on there that shouldn't be there.
Sorry, which thing did you cut the frame out with?
With deckled rectangles?
Which side? Size?
You have this die set?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the one that's
I'm gonna say, so how big is your thing? About 1/2 inch or
3.5 by 2 1/4 inches. That's good. I didn't know anyone had that die. I love it.
this one
You
is
would have had the whole thing cut out with them, but I cut
this
my
is 2 3/4, so it's the bigger one? That doesn't make sense.
well, it's the yeah, whatever that was.
This one is 3 inches, so that doesn't make sense.
Well, don't forget the die itself is going to be wider.
How big is the hole? So you were giving me the whole size?
Yeah, I was giving you the size of this, the cutout.
Okay, that's this one. Okay.
So for those of you who were lucky to get the 2-tone paper, grab your sanding block, but you have to be careful so that you don't rip it because it's thin paper and because it's die cut, it's more prone to tear. So just lightly pull it through, and this is like what's fabulous about this paper is because it all turns white, so it actually looks like snow falling. So, but even though you might not have this 2-tone paper, we're still going to use the sanding block on the snow. You can notice a little worn effect on it when we use it on the standard cardstock. It's not the same because it doesn't have white paper undertone, but it just makes that snowflake pop. I've already pre-done one of my standard cardstocks. It's just giving it a little Little warm look. Nothing much. It's not like obviously nowhere near the same, but at least it's a little something to kind of help pop out those snowflakes.
Are we all doing that?
We're all doing that.
Hmm.
Serge sent a photo with a child in protective gear standing on a snow-covered surface.
Is someone getting Siri to tell them a story?
No, my son just sent me something, and when I don't look at it, so it's describing a photo he just sent me of my granddaughter. Can you believe that? And it referred to her as being in protective gear. She's on the snow. She's snowboarding. This doesn't really do anything to my paper. Okay.
Me either.
It could be that my sanding block already has a lot of the white tone that it pulled off that maybe is rubbing it. Like I said, nothing's going to shine through the cardstock because the cardstock's the same color all the way through, but you can see it kind of change. It gets warm. If you have one of the white sanding blocks, make sure you're using the heavier grit side because there's some sides that are just a buffer. It doesn't have grip on it. Yeah, you can even see it kind of lightened the cardstock itself from rubbing it. Another alternative that you could use if you obviously won't try it now, but if you're crafting with those snowflakes, you could grab some white crafting and just use a dauber or a sponge to lightly go over the snowflakes, like not pushing in at all. That would be an alternative as well. Okay. And then once you're caught up with that, you can just set that aside. And we're going to work on stamping our tags. And for our tags, this is where we're using Night of Navy and a gray. So I'm using Smoky Slate. You can use gray granite if that's what you have. That'll work just the same. And the stamps that I'm using are the swirl, just add a little bit of background. And then the word is sending a flurry of happy wishes. Because there's so much snow falling.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have any of those either.
You got different snowflake set? That's okay. You can just find some random swirls or random background images.
I don't have those tag pieces.
Oh, you don't have those in there? You had nothing. How this doesn't seem
I
right.
don't have the tag pieces either. Where did it come from?
Well, I pre-cut them and put them on everyone's piles that I shoved in the envelope. So this is why it's like the fact that your stuff's in an envelope doesn't make sense because I didn't put them in envelopes, so all the piles were complete.
Well, hang on. I'll check my envelope again. Nope. Where did you cut that one from, Trisha?
I don't know the name of it. It's a tag one. Same with these ones.
Oh, so that's a new one. Okay. I have that set.
Or even an oval punch would work if you have an oval punch.
Called Greetings of the Seasons dies.
I can't find the package. So they're just laying on my counter.
And you just,
I'm just randomly putting some swirls, 3 of them actually,
In
swirls.
the
Okay.
smoky slate.
in smoky slate. Yep.
Okay, hang on. I gotta get mine cut out.
And thanks for sharing, just so that the others know.
Is there a sentiment going on this?
What's that, Chantel?
Is a sentiment going on this?
Yes. So it is the sending a flurry of happy wishes is what I'm putting on here. And I'm just stamping it directly in the center. So
That's not
anything
gonna.
that'll fit in the center,
Okay, that's not gonna fit on this
you're
one.
looking for an alternative.
I better stamp it first. In which color? Sorry.
So it's the gray in the background and then Night of Navy.
Maybe. Okay.
Okay. And then you should also have some navy string in your bag. Don't cut it in half. I just like to thread this and do a bow and then snip whatever's left over just to make sure that I have enough for the next project.
A
Because
gray string, does that count?
yeah, that'll work. That's actually what I had in my sample the first time, but I ran out of gray string. So I started making all of our make and takes with 8 rolls of the gray baker's twine, thinking that'll be enough for our cards. Yeah, no, that got us through 1 of the cards. So then I had to go find some other string, and I'll show you again when we're got the cards, so you can see the gray strings on the one sample and the blues on this one. But it actually looks really good because of all the various blues. I'm glad I still had a big roll, but you know what? Wow, over the years, has the quantity that's put in our packaging decreased? Like we had massive spools before of this. Because I still had enough for all of the cards and I still have like a chunk on the roll. So I might have to start looking at crafts or like at little sales and stuff where people are clearing things out cheap. Because maybe I did end up using the whole thing, but you remember they were rolls like this is what our baker's twine used to
Yep.
be.
I bought a bunch of those from a lady in Leduc.
That's a much bigger one too. That's a much bigger string.
Yeah, that one was a little bit bigger, but this was on this very same spool. So yeah, you can decide how long you want. And if you don't want a bow, you can tie a knot. Well, some of you don't like bow tying. Lorette, you'll have to get Al to do all your bow tying for you.
Well, I'm trying to figure it out. I can do it with the ribbon, but that stuff is too fiddly. My
Yeah,
fingers
too
don't
thin.
work.
Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to set those aside. We're almost done. We are already a half an hour ahead of the in-person class.
Oops.
And for those of them rewatching, it's not a pun. I'm just trying to time this of where we're at.
Trisha, can you just show the tag quickly again?
Show which, sorry?
The tag.
Yeah.
So you just put it in the potable. Okay, thank you.
Did you put 2 strings, 2 ends of? No, that wouldn't work. Show me the back of it.
Sorry?
I think she tied it.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to show you, this is the snowflake stamp set from last year. Are you sure you don't have this, Laurette?
That's what I can't find. I'm sure I have that.
I'm sure you do too.
I'm positive I do. In fact, I just thought the other day, but I can't find it now.
It's always the way.
That's
Yeah.
because you're looking for it.
I know.
Okay. And then for those of you who are caught up, and I'll do two of them just so that you guys can see it. We're going to do our stenciling with Night of Navy ink. I have to figure out what I did with the stencil. See? Lost it already. Number 2 stencil. Lost the second stencil. Like I only have a limited workspace. It's just crazy. Okay. Now, when we go to use our stencil, you want the majority of the snowflakes to hit the center of your card. And in fact, you could just line this up center and that's almost perfect. But there is actually 2 different texture sides, I think. No, it's the same. Never mind. Yesterday they were like, oh, it goes more smoothly, but I think it's because they were using the bigger brush than the smaller brush.
Do we need sorry, Trisha, do we need string for anything else? Because I have a really long piece of gray string.
Yeah, well, we're going to be using gray string on this card.
Oh, okay.
But you should have it in your kit, hopefully.
No, I don't have any blue thread, so I'll use both. Okay.
So then you're gonna just, I mean, it's up to you. If you have washi tape, you can use washi tape to hold your stencil in place. I don't got time for that. So I just go over, I'm just gonna hold it with my fingers, recognizing that I'm gonna get my fingers inky though. Some of you might not like to get your fingers dirty, and that's okay. You can again, put some washi tape down. You just want to make sure that you're getting all the snowflakes. The more ink, whoopsie, but you gotta be careful not to shift it like I just did. The more ink, the darker it's gonna be.
That's on our navy piece, right?
Yeah, that's on your card base.
Your card base?
Card base.
The navy piece, yes.
Okay, I don't have a navy card base.
Well, then you must be working off the wrong card kit.
Well, it said stamp stack number 2 on it.
Yeah, that's all the card kits were in that bag. So there should have been like 3 bundles of card kits.
Beautiful.
No, I only got 2.
There was only 2 in there?
Yeah.
Like 2 envelopes stuffed with cards.
Yeah. Not 3. That's what I was wondering. It looked like.
Yeah. Well,
I'm missing all the others.
Grab a Night of Navy piece and do it. And Chantel, I'll give you these 2 cards done. Then you'll have a couple extra cards. I don't know how yours got missed because I literally had an assembly line going.
We're doing both of them, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Chantel.
Good thing I have all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I have 2 pieces of navy, but it's not card base size.
Yeah, no, that's for your other card.
Okay. Oh, I need this. Oh, shoot. Damn it.
Because all the card kits went in.
I gotta go wash.
And I put in the tool pack. And then I put in the straws.
Got time to go wash my hands?
Seal it up. Oh, yeah, yeah. Might want to take your stencil with you and wash it as well. Because we're going to need this with a different color. So while you guys are catching up on that, I'm just going to go wash my stencil. And just be careful if you've got a cloth, it actually rinses off nicely with water, and you can just tap some paper towel on it to dry it, or a dry cloth to dry it. Just be careful with the microfiber cloths because they tend to stick to the little sides, like the centers of the intricate pieces. And then when you pull on it, it'll bend it. So just be careful when you wash it.
All right.
Ah,
I love that.
Is it Night of Navy on Night of Navy?
Yep.
Okay.
I tell you guys that Riley moved into a new place. They've
in
upgraded
White Court?
apartment living to duplex living.
In White Court.
Yeah. So Tom's on his way out there right now to deliver some stuff. And then I'm just going to start to assemble these while you guys are finishing up that. And I didn't pop up the frames. I did leave them as is. Let's figure out what I did with my zero.
Ooh, this tape works good.
Do we need pool party anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, when I'm mounting my frames onto the center of my card, I'm just centering them. But I'm doing it so that it actually looks like snow falling. So there's less snow at the top, more snow at the bottom. So depending on how you ran yours through the embossing folder, but I just wanted to out. Again, it doesn't matter. It works either way. And then you also just want to kind of note which direction the card's opening, just a friendly reminder. When we go to mount our tag on though, I'm only putting adhesive on one side of it. I'm not putting it on the whole tag. I'm only putting seal on one side. Oh, shoot. Now I just kind of wrecked this. So pick which side you want your sending wishes on. I did one of my cards yesterday on the left side because I had torn the paper. So this was a way for me to cover where I tore it. Now, just habit, I decided to.
That's too funny because I tore mine too. So I was able to see where you put it.
Did you put that on with a dimensional?
One.
Nope, just with seal. So I'm only putting seal on one side of it.
Oh, okay.
And then that's the side I'm mounting it to my card.
Okay.
And I'm just lining it right up to the frame. It doesn't really matter. Other than you only want the adhesive on one side because we're going to be tucking our snowflakes in under it.
Can't find my other tag.
And then you can just play and tuck your snowflakes. Now with my first snowflake, I think I did actually erase it. Yeah, I think I did put a dimensional just kind of in the center of it. Oh, sorry. I moved the camera everywhere. This little hole right here really bugs me. I don't know if you guys can see that. I bought a new a new base that I have to put up, but
If you wouldn't have said anything, we would have never noticed.
well, now you'll notice it in every single video.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this boho blue. So thank you guys. I'm glad I listened to you. So, and then with the little snowflakes, actually, I just put seal on the back of this, but I actually use a glue dot because the glue dot still makes it pop slightly. You can do whatever makes you happy. We're just tucking it underneath the other snowflake and
Oh,
yeah. See, I like this one way better than my pool party one. I mean, the pool party one is still nice, but you see, it had gray, and it was a way to bring in the gray. I do wish I had the gray ribbon, so Chantel's card will be awesome because it has gray ribbon. I mean, this card is still awesome too. But it's just sometimes those little details that will just bug me. I can't believe that 7 rolls of that was not enough to get you guys through.
oh, I didn't use my gray ribbon on that though. I was saving it for the other card. I used my own blue ribbon on that. Blue string.
Oh.
Do we pop the frame around the center?
No,
No?
no, it's just mounted directly to the card base. We're going to save the dimensionals for other things. I mean, you can pop it. It's not, you know, I just chose not to. But I like to pop up things. I don't know why. There must have been some reason. I just don't know what that is right. So then for the inside though, because this is a dark card, those other pieces that I had you cut, this is the 3.5 by 4.25. These are for the center of these cards. I'm just gonna open this up. And if you can add some other greetings to it, you could stamp another snowflake. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. Take some boho blue, half my navy, put 1 snowflake in the bottom corner. And then you can put any other greeting that you might have in place. In my sample card, I found that other stamp set that we had, the Merry Christmas from it, and just stamp that in Night of Navy. So if you wanted to turn it into a Christmas card, or maybe it's someone's birthday, maybe you want to put happy birthday on the inside. I know this is a Christmas card class, but being that these are snowflakes, you can turn it into whatever card you want. And that finishes card number. And again, these two, if you didn't want to stamp the inside, you could just layer it to have a blue layer on the inside. You could use these for whatever you want. I'm going to convert them into some Christmas flags and snowflakes. You guys still catching up finishing this card?
Yeah.
Okay. Got my other snowflakes out.
So you have 1 big one and 2 small ones on there?
Yeah. Does anyone have a recipient in mind for this card? Or one of these cards? What about Christmas trees? Did anyone get their tree up yet?
Never took mine down yet from last year.
You just put it in the basement with a bag over top?
No, it's in the living room upstairs.
For real?
It's a pre-lit skinny tree, so
Nice.
it doesn't look out of place actually.
Just add different decorations on depending on the season.
That's what I figured. I want to get another one for the other side of the room.
Yeah, so for those of you who have that in color paper from last year, don't forget you got two-tone in color paper. You can do fun stuff with. Sometimes we forget what we have. I was sitting in my chair and I was looking into, I put my retired paper in a stand to get ready to sell it. And I noticed some Moody Mauve and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot we had two-tone paper. So I went searching all over. I mean, that wasn't the paper that was there. It's just what I thought it was. So I was glad I still found some scraps to at least have a couple to share a few of them out.
Are we putting bling bling on this?
No, but you can add bling bling if you want.
I think I'm gonna.
The snow.
And I made a teeny tiny messy bow.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. You have to post pictures in the group after. Are you kidding me?
Very nice card, Trisha.
Thanks. Pool party. Here's it with the pool party. I'll have to do this one to find the misfit, although there's two misfits in this one.
Oops. Oopsie. Ooh.
Okay. For those of you who are ready to move on to the next card, do that. The next card is the other boho blue card.
Wet wipes.
And so some things that you can do to prepare for this next card. Oh, be careful when you're taking out all the pieces because there's a couple little tiny gemstones in there. And there should be 2 small circles that get stuck. Okay. So for those of you who are waiting, you can go ahead and fold your blue pieces in half. And you can cut your ribbon in half. And you can cut your glimmer paper in half. Everything's in half.
Bling.
And we need to do the stamping first with this project though. And so I need everyone to kind of be up to speed at the same time when we do that. Can't cut ribbon with glasses on my face. That's so funny.
Are we scoring those long blue pieces?
Yeah, folding it in half.
Okay.
Is everyone on this card already?
No, I can't find a snowflake.
For this next card, we're using the gray, the native navy, and boho black. Again, if you don't have boho blue, that's fine. You can use coal black.
Boho blue. Okay.
Are we folding this big blue piece in half too?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to move on though. We're going to do stamping first. So those are just things you can do while you're waiting. Is to fold everything in half or cut everything in half. But let's start stamping. So the 2 little pieces that you cut, which are 2.5 by 4 1/4. Those are the 2 pieces that you need. You also need some scrap from this particular one. Now, I recommend that you use the smallest pieces. Like for instance, there's still room for me to do snowflakes. So I'm not going to cut this in case I need this extra paper for my snowflakes on my next card. So I'm actually just going to cut off some excess white right here. And I'm going to cut off the excess white right here. Because that's about the only size that I need, or just 2 small pieces like this. You're going to need a big block. So this one is the E block. If you don't have this, a silicone mat works. Or any other hard surface that you can get inky and wet. Maybe you got an embossing tray that you can use. Ideally, the big acrylic block works best. You're also going to need your spritzer and those ink pads that I shared with you. Okay, are we all good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What we're going to do first is we're taking our light ink pad, which is our gray, so smoky slate. And I'm just stamping kind of 1/3 of my block. I'm only pushing in once. I don't have to do it a whole bunch of times. I just need to get some ink on the block. I'm then going to take my boho blue, it's just slightly darker, and I'm going to cover the other side of the block, like so. And then I'm going to take my Night of Navy and cover the other third of the block. So it's a third, a third, a third. And it's okay if they overlap because we're leading in with the darker colors, right? So you just want to make sure there's nothing in the way of getting all inky. And you're going to take your spritzer and you're going to put a lot of water on here. I'm squirting so that I see the water or seeing the colors all blend together. And then I'm taking, oh shoot, I used a small block. I need a bigger block than this. It almost fit. You can see I'm making a mess now. So I'm picking it up, lifting it up, and putting it down right away. So that way, if there's anything leaky, it won't drip off. And then I need to wipe my block in between.
And we're doing that with the white piece?
We're doing that with the white piece. Yep.
The bigger one, I assume.
The 2.5. This is the 2.5 by 4.25 piece. The two pieces that we cut at the beginning. So then I'm going to just repeat that process because for the next part. Again, starting with the lightest color first. 1/3 gray. 1/3 blue. And 1/3 navy. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be spritzing the water all around. Make sure that the spritz is going the right direction so you don't get it in your face. And then I'm going to put it down, smush it, and then lift and let it dry because it's going to start to curl on you. And it's okay if you don't get it all perfect. Well, I guess you can't see my first one. They're all unique because they're for snowflakes. If you have a lot of ink left over on your block, before you go to wash it, take one of those scraps that I had you cut. And you're just going to layer that. And you know what? I'm going to just ink this a little bit more or spray it a little bit more so the ink goes in. And I'm going to try it with this scrap. If you don't like it, you can always grab some other white scraps.
You freeze.
That's a nice layer. I'm also going to take my little white circles after I've lifted off the major part, making a mess, and I'm inking my circles. But again, not in the full strength. This is just with whatever's left over after I've inked up my big one. So this
are those white circles? Because I don't have any white circles.
Yeah, you do. They're stuck in your envelope.
No, I don't.
I know 100% you do. If you have the envelope with the pieces, everything had them. They just get stuck because they're so tiny or they're stuck in between something. Because mine felt like I had nothing in there, but when I put my finger in, they were there. Okay. So this is just like I don't even know what I want to call this. This is like a spritz coloring. spritz coloring, sure, let's call it spritz coloring technique that we're going to do with this card. It's just a fun way to spread the color in a different manner. Now, I know sometimes we use like watercolor paper and stuff, but I honestly feel we don't need it. If we let this dry enough and we use enough adhesive on the back, it'll stick to whatever it is that we need to. So while these are drying, this is where you can go ahead and finish cutting in half your ribbon, cut in half your glitter sheets. This is like one strip cut in half is good for one card. Cut in half your ribbon and then fold your cardstock. I don't know. I have a funny feeling that I'm going to be doing a lot with my spritzer again this year. I'm trying to find like what it is that I loved about stamping like all the years ago. And like, I'm trying to find my style and technique that might be a little different than other people. And like, I love spritzing. So that's how you guys ended up with a lot of spritzing happening with this card collection. Is because of my self-reflection. I don't know what I'll do if Stampin' Up! Ever stops selling those spritzers because I've had many over the years too, and these are my favorite for just how they store, how the lids are, how it sprays, like all of the above. Okay, then I'm just cutting my strips in half. It's basically just 1/2 inch, but that doesn't have to be perfect because we're covering half of it. Again, I'm not wasting my time measuring. I'm just guesstimating where half is by looking at the cut mark. But like I said, it's half a mark or 1/2 inch is the cutting mark for those of you who prefer to know the measurement. Then once you have all those pieces ready to go, you can bring in your mask again. We are going to sponge around the edges. So now for this card, it's important to get more of the snowflakes around the edges than it is the center. Just because we want to see it, but honestly, I'm still good with how it sets up centrally. Like for me, that's fine. I know in our class yesterday, people were trying to do like on the sides to get it and on the sides. But honestly, I think it's fine this way. If you just center it. I mean, I think it's enough snowflakes. And if you want to go in and add more afterwards, you can. It's entirely up to you. For this one, we're doing boho blue with a boho blue sponge. So for those of you who only have one sponge, take that navy sponge, find a scrap piece of paper, and blend it off the best you can. So just keep rubbing and rubbing on a piece of paper for the ink to come out. Ideally, if you have some extra white paper at home, because you can use like the ink that you brush off, you can end up using that on a project. Punch out a shape out of it or stamp over top of it. Don't waste the ink. You can put it on some paper and it'll be fun to play with. I have a lot of sponges, so I pulled out my boho blue one that I've been using.
If I don't have boho blue ink pad, should I use Pool Party? The boho blue paper?
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Or like, yeah, balmy blue would probably work too.
Yeah, probably better. Yeah.
But if I were you, I would just test it first on some scrap. No, I guess you won't be able to test it. Well, you could test it in the middle of the card because you're going to be putting the middle is all getting covered.
Yeah.
So you can test the other colors on the inside. You can test what Pool Party looks like. You can test what balmy blue looks like, or if you have another kind of blue. Or you can even just use Night of Navy. Night of Navy would probably work too. It'll just make it a whole lot darker, but it'll still blend in with the Night of Navy card front.
Yeah, because the balmy blue doesn't really look good.
Yeah. And so again, the more ink you put on, the sharper the snowflake image. So you want it softer, put less ink. If you want it sharper, add more ink. And we're just doing this to the card base. Voila.
Trisha, sorry, you're using the boho blue?
Yeah, I'm using boho blue on the stencil to stencil the top of the boho blue paper. But for those of you who might not have boho blue, feel free to test it with some other colors. You could even use the Night of Navy, that's fine too. But I haven't used boho blue a whole lot since it's come out. In fact, I haven't used a whole lot of those in colors. So it always makes me happy when I can find a project to use it on. And that's probably why I didn't go for the blue snowflakes at the beginning, because I literally just hadn't used it. So I appreciate you guys forcing me to. La, la. And then, yeah, these are still too wet to stamp on. We just gotta let that all dry a little bit.
Oh,
But I just love how it's all uniquely different. Nothing looks the same. I'm just gonna go wash my stencil while I'm waiting for you guys to catch up. I'm waiting for our stuff to dry.
Oh my God, my hands are all blue.
yep.
I'm calling this class Blue Christmas.
Yeah.
I should have been wearing, we should have all wore blue. But I do have my snowflake necklace. Now don't forget, sample stack number 3 is in December. December 21st is in person, 22nd is virtual. And don't forget, if you sign up for all 3, we're gonna have the party. I'm trying to figure out if we're having the party the night of the class or if we're having the party in the new year. It'll likely be the new year. So stay tuned for that. So for this particular one, we're not cutting out any snowflakes anywhere. We're just stamping the snowflakes everywhere. And that's what all of these are. Now my lighter ones are drying. My smaller ones are drying a lot faster than the bigger ones, which is, that's normal. So what I'm doing now is I'm pulling out my smoky slate and these little circles. I'm stamping the largest snowflake that's in this bundle in smoky slate right on top of it. Oops. So that. And my like that. See what they look like. Now, because again, I had the light paper, didn't focus. But anyway, they're there. They're in gray. And then if your smaller pieces are good, we're going to stamp those in Night of Navy. For this one, I'm pulling out the saying that says, hope you have the merriest season ever. And because I did this on scraps, I'm actually wanting to stamp it so that any cutouts or any pieces are on my left-hand side. But I want to stamp this closest to the right-hand side. And I want it where there's, you know, some of this color. So I'm, you know, really trying to see where I want that placed. This almost looks like it's turned a little bit purple. I don't know why that would be. There must be the colors that are in the boho blue versus the Night of Navy. But what I'm doing is I'm taking my scissors now and I'm just trimming it down. And I'm trimming like on an angle. So from the bottom up, it gets shorter so that it looks like this. I'm going to do that again to my second one. Again, I'm just cutting it to make sure it's like a nice, and then I'm cutting it on an angle up to the top. So it looks like this. Easy, easy, simple. But now it's part of the color that we have. And like I said, they all look so different. Is this still really wet? I don't know what is your guys is still really wet. I might have to pull out the hand tool. Okay. While we're waiting for that to dry, the other thing we can do actually is we can take our folded Night of Navy pieces and we can go ahead and mount these on our card. So it's basically center that you're mounting them. And I just moved it slightly up from center. So it was like this. So it still looks like it's completely centered, but it's just slightly up. And I'm just going to use my seal. I'm just mounting into the front. Number one. Number two. Let's see. And then remember those extra pieces that you had from the previous card? This is where it might come in handy to put a piece on the inside so that you have somewhere lighter to journal. If you're someone who uses silver pens or gold pens, you probably, don't need a center if you like to write on the darker colors, but I think that just looks nice as a center, as a way to journal. Has everyone done their inking though? You're all drawing?
Okay, what were we supposed to do with the navy blue?
We're mounting it on the front of our card.
We cut it in half? Yeah, or
No.
fold it in half. Thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you. I got it.
Mhm. Like your glimmer paper that you're cutting in half.
Okay.
Lengthwise, okay,
We're cutting something in.
important to know.
And your ribbon, that beautiful silver ribbon.
Get the ribbon over it.
And that's because I ran out of the gray ribbon. Can you guys hear me chomping on ice? I hope not. I hope it's tuning it out.
Can you show the card again?
Mm-hmm.
Do they still have this white glimmer paper? It only comes in a multi-pack, right?
Yeah. With the berry burst and the old olive.
Yeah,
It's one sheet of each.
that's too
That's
bad.
why we're using it sparingly and you're not getting any snowflakes out of it.
Okay, this. Jesus.
Is everyone's paper dry? Or not yet?
My paper's dry.
Is it?
Mhm.
Yay. You already stamped your little snowflakes in your Merry season?
Oh, I didn't stamp my snowflakes on that paper though.
Yeah, you can go ahead and stamp your little.
No,
freeze.
those ones I did, not the other piece.
Oh, yeah, no, we haven't done that yet.
Okay.
This is where we're at right here.
Okay. That is not what mine looks like at all.
That's
Look,
why you guys are all gonna have to post your cards because they're all gonna be unique. I love it.
plus apparently I know that I inked my entire block and yet half my paper is white.
Hmm. Now the key really is not to be light on the water.
Well, that was definitely the problem the first time, but I put more the second time.
Trisha, can you dry them with your heat tool?
Yeah, you probably could dry them with your heat tool. If yours are still wet. Mine are dry now too.
Mine are pretty well. They're still dampish though.
What about everyone else? Is yours still really dry? Or I mean really wet?
Mine's dry enough. Like
You're
not
awfully quiet, Corey.
95%.
Well, maybe there's one that's drier than the other. Most are. I'm going to try and keep it so that the lighter color's on top and the darker's on the bottom. You don't have to. It's just something I'm doing. Which means that has to come up that way. And I'm starting with my gray. My gray with my large snowflake is what I'm stamping first. And I'm stamping 3 snowflakes. And I'm stamping off the page, not necessarily on the page. Ooh, I might need to use the heat tool. Now I'm squishing down, it feels a little wet. But I'm just randomly stamping 3 snowflakes off, like they're off the page. They're not on the page, like it's not perfectly on.
You're using smoky slate?
Yeah, I'm using smoky slate.
It's super dark.
Yes. Yours is super dark or mine is super dark?
Mine is.
Well, maybe it's just
yours, but maybe it's just the camera. Maybe it's just the camera or the screen, whatever.
Maybe. Yeah, Cheryl, yours look good. Yeah.
Mine are dark too. But that's okay. I like them.
Okay. Now I'm going back to the swirl, and I'm just going to fill in some swirls with the gray. Just randomly, 3 of them. Excuse me. Just filling in the gaps. Better clean so I don't forget before I do the next one. Okay. What else do we have going on here? And then I just put some random snowflakes in boho blue. Now have a scrap piece of paper near you because we're only doing the second strength of paper. We're not doing full strength. So you're basically stamping off. You're stamping off in between each one.
Are you using the biggest of the small ones?
I'm using all 3 of them.
Oh,
so
all
yeah.
3. Okay.
Yeah. So right now I'm just stamping boho blue, stamping on, and then stamping off on my page. Stamp off, stamp on, stamp off, stamp on. And we're just making like a little collage. It's not going to be perfect. We're probably going to overstamp with some other stuff. So honestly, don't worry about perfection on this. I might, no, I don't want to try to see how dark it gets, but I am going to do a smaller one, just kind of beside those ones. And I'm going to clean that, and I'm actually going to add a couple of dark or gray snowflakes as well, just randomly so that they show up in the little one. Everything is literally random. It's your own little pattern paper, I guess you can say. And then once I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to do the same thing with some Night of Navy. So we're adding all three colors in here. But again, I'm stamping off. I'm only using the medium and the small one for the Night of Navy, though. I'm not using the large one. Again, stamping off once and then stamping once on my card. Stamp off, stamp on. And I just have three that I've kind of added near the bottom. If I wanted, I could, you know, take that after I stamped off and stamped on, I could do another stamp up top so that it's more faded. Actually, that looks really good. I'm going to stamp off once, stamp onto my sheet, and then stamp again somewhere random. And then once you're satisfied with that looks like, you can put away your ink. And then pull out your Winkostella. And I'm not pulling in my sentiments. I'm leaving those aside. I don't want any glitter on them. But on my snowflake and on this, it can get glitter. I'm not trying to put a whole lot, but I am putting them down. I'm just going to do some splatter just to get a little bit of extra bling bling or glitter or shimmer or whatever you want to call it on my paper. I'm doing that just by flicking, just like we would with our markers or our pen. I just have to squish, squish, squish to make sure I get some of that out. Again, it's not a whole lot, but it's just enough so that it catches your eye when you kind of pick it up and see it. Then when you're picking adhesive to use, because we need to glue down this onto glimmer paper, and we all know adhesive has a hard time sticking to glimmer paper. You can use your double-sided tear and tape. You know best what sticks in your house, or you know how things stick. So use whatever adhesive works best for you. My first card I made, I just used seal and it stuck really, really nicely and it seemed to stay. But my second card, not so much. You don't want to use liquid Tombow though, because liquid, it just won't dry, like it'll just absorb into the paper and it won't really stick good to that paper. I thought I might have some double-sided sticky strip here to test, but I can't seem to find it. Nope. So I'm just going to take a risk and use my Stampin' Seal. But the key is you need to make sure that adhesive goes right up to the end of the paper. So on both sides, make sure your adhesive goes right to the very end and up, starting off and on. The key is to make sure there's lots of adhesive there. And then you're going to go ahead and mount your newly designed pattern paper onto the glimmer paper, leaving only like 1/8 of an inch showing. We just want a little bit, not a lot. I just gave you lots there, so it was easy to, mount to play with. And so another key is as you get your adhesive on, to warm it up with your fingers by friction, just rubbing your finger up and down on that to make sure it really does stick. And then you can go ahead and mount this to the center of your paper here with whatever adhesive you want. Now remember, this is kind of raised. In fact, I wonder if I should, let me try this first. I didn't do either of them with dimensionals. I'm going to try this one with dimensionals just so that it goes over both sides. I'm trying to prevent that curl from being wet, right? It's got that little curl to it. So I want to put a few dimensionals, and I think I'm going to put some on the side here too. But you can use your tear and tape. You can use seal. Like I said, I used seal on all my other ones and it was fine. Pardon me. If you've got the scrapbook one, so the Seal Plus, that's the one I would wish I used, but I ended up breaking the seal and I haven't had Tom fix it yet. But that one is perfect for the back of the glimmer paper because it's the same kind of texture as photo paper. It's glossy, I guess you can say. And so that's where that Seal Plus works really, really good for. So yeah, dimensionals worked really good on that. I'm happy with how that turned out. Here I just like laid it flat, putting adhesive on it, so that works too. This one all done up the same. Again, you just want to make sure adhesive all the way up on both sides. Just so that you can mount it there. Again, you can have as much as the glitter paper showing as you want. I think just a little bit is enough just to kind of catch that glistening. I call this one the glistening card. Yeah, and maybe this one I'll just glue with my standard seal and we can see the difference with dimensionals versus not. I just can't believe my paper trimmer is shredding already. The blade must have got bent somehow. I literally just last weekend put in a new one. Yeah. And it's going over mine. Oh, shoot. I overcut that one. Use my big scissors for that, but. And then once you guys are caught up to here, this is where our snowflakes come in. So you're going to need your dimensionals for this. And what you're going to do is take one dimensional. You're not putting it on that paper, but you're lining it up centered the best you can to what center might be. And then I'm just taking the flat edge of the hexagon and I'm lining it up to the base of that card. Okay, so it's just there as the base. I'm turning it over because it's easier for me to see, to kind of guesstimate where center is by doing that. Okay, so it's not on the lift, it's just underneath it. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to peel this off, and this is where your snowflake comes in. It's gonna mount that there. Now, ideally, you would put it as close to the bottom of that circle without it coming out of the edge, just to give you more room to kind of lift it. But that's your clasp, your closure. Oops, get it back in. Okay. How are we doing? Is anyone at this point? Maybe we're just on time as we were with the in-person class. It's 9:05 and we still have one more card to go. And like I said earlier, I did learn that I think the delay is because of the techniques. But it's snowflakes. You guys needed to know how to do the fun techniques.
Seriously?
What's that?
For myself, because it's crooked.
Have you guys found like the perfect gift for anyone that you're super excited for?
The one what?
The one perfect gift, like a perfect gift that you're just so excited you found.
No.
Who's the hardest person to buy for? Okay. So I'm putting the final touches on this card now. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little bit of adhesive right here because I'm going to take one of my strings and I'm just going to do a little bit of back and forth, back and forth. I mean, normally I would do it to the back of my tag, but I don't want to do it to the back of my tag. I want to do it on the paper the tag's going to cover. So that's the reason why I did that. And then because this is all really curly, I want to make sure that I use 2 dimensionals on that. I'm going to use one on either end. And then I'm putting the straight side over to the side. And it doesn't matter where you put it. It can go over. Whoa, it just needs to be straight. Mine's not looking so straight. But there you go. Hope you have the merriest season ever. And then this is where your little tiny ornaments come, or ornaments, embellishments. And then just to add some of that glimmer, that's there, we're just going to put one of those in the center of the little closure. And then I'll just bring out some of the iridescent on the side for the little bling bling. Again, you don't want to put too much adhesive. You just need it in the enough spot that this will cover over. I'm just going to do my little back and forth again. I'm just doing it like a figure 8.
Did you use a dimensional, Trisha, for the closure thing?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
And so don't forget the dimensional goes on the card base first, not on your snowflake first, because you want to make sure it doesn't catch.
Oh, okay.
And then a couple more dimensionals. Tell you, I've been using them like crazy today. If anyone has any unopened packs, I might need to buy 1 or 2 off you before Wednesday. I'm pretty excited. You guys are going to see more tomorrow on Make It Monday, but I'm doing a United Way fundraiser at work making cards. So I got my 1 card design today, but it uses a whole lot of dimensionals. Oh, I'm so happy with how that turned out. Again, it's not the pool party one. Here's the pool party one, but oops, I didn't put my little sparkle on. But this is just as nice too. I wanted to give you guys these little gems, but the package that they all come in, they all match pool party. They don't match boho blue. So we had to come up with something else. And so you guys are getting these awesome iridescent little things. I know they were unorderable for the longest time. I hope they're back in stock again.
If nobody close to you has dimensionals, I have some. I can drop them off on
No, I do.
Tuesday. You have some?
Yeah.
Mantel? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Awesome.
Sweet. I'll swing by. I'll grab my Christmas tree stamp set too if you're done with it.
Yeah, it's in my car that I was supposed to drop off today, and I totally didn't see it sitting there.
Okay. I'll swing by after work one day.
So your card is opening the long way?
Yep, a long way.
No,
And
only the
blue
front.
one?
What's that?
The blue one?
Only the front.
Okay.
But really, it doesn't matter if you accidentally put it where you can.
I messed both cards up, so mine's going this way.
Well,
And the other one, this one here, is going this way.
and that's okay. You could do it this way. You just have to rotate where this is.
I did.
Oh, I love it.
I must be sleeping. I don't know what
You
I
could have
did.
told me that earlier. I would have made one like that.
I don't know what I was thinking, but my mind wasn't working.
That's cool.
Cute though.
Another.
Ooh, circles everywhere.
I guess I'm going to have one of these posts every day this week. Which one's the misfit? Yeah, these two I did with gray granite, but these ones I did with smoky slate. I like the smoky slate better. Well, I like it better with the boho blue, I guess we should say.
Yeah, actually, I like the boho blue better with the navy than a pool party.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, I wouldn't have experienced it if it wasn't for you guys. And then I'm hoping I saved the easiest card for last. But again, we're gonna have to wait for some drying to occur. Are you guys still catching up finishing this card? Do I have time to run to the washroom?
Yeah.
Okay, and just like that, you guys are all done now, right? You ready for the next card? Or are you laughing at me with mute on? Okay. I will crack a pop. I'm going to have some cranberry ginger ale with my paper straw that's forcing it all to spew out. Honestly, it didn't do this with plastic straws, just paper straws.
Trisha, I'm gonna have to catch the rest on
Okay.
tape. My back is just killing me.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Just fast forward to where you need to be.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for joining.
Yeah, good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Night, Lorette.
Yeah, poor thing. She's been having issues. I know what that's like. How's your knee been, Cheryl? She's been moving like crazy, so I think good.
Sorry, I missed that.
Okay, I was just saying, how are you? How's your movement? How's your knees been?
Not too bad. Really good, actually.
Good.
My back's been killing me, though.
That's too bad.
Just like Lorette.
Yeah. Mine too, but that's because I haven't been doing anything. I haven't even been doing my stretches. I was like, oh, I gotta go to the gym. Actually, I gotta go exercising. But you guys, Kira worked her first casino this weekend and enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Really? What did she do?
She did the same job I did Friday night, actually. She put the cash through the counter. But we figured we could do all the jobs, no problem. We just don't want to do the cash box job. We have another one in January though, so I told her she'll get lots of practice.
Okay, that's not even all the jobs. There's all the jobs in the cash cage.
Oh yeah, sorry, just the jobs in the cash cage.
You're talking about the count
Sorry,
room.
not the cash cage, just the count room.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. What's your favorite job, Chantel? I know you do lots of them.
Yeah, none of them.
At least you're honest.
I like to be the manager.
I've done enough. Yeah, I mean, if you want a job that does nothing but still talk to people, then that's the GM.
Yeah.
That's my mom
But if
went.
you want a job that does nothing where you sit by yourself most of the night or with your fellow chip runner, then chip runner.
That's what my dad does.
I've done the banker and the manager.
Oh, good on you.
Those are the two easiest ones
Yeah.
in the cash
Smart
cage.
girl.
Well, if anyone wants to come hang out with me in the count room on January 3rd, I'm looking for a buddy. Someone that
What is it? What is it for? What's it raising funds for?
it's for the Highlands Lawn Bowling.
Oh, okay.
It's for our club. You just have to have a good crew though, because you have to all talk and have fun to make the time go by, right? Otherwise, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, I gotta run.
Okay, well, thanks, Corey.
I'll have to pick it up later.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, bye.
Okay,
Night.
bye. Okay, are you guys ready to move to the
Trisha, on that last one, did you have this flat silver ribbon and string?
No. No, just that. Just
Okay, well,
the
how did you get those skinny pieces?
Oh, because they fell off. Because when you cut it in half, it takes away the seam on one side, so then it shreds.
Oh, I totally missed the part about cutting that in half.
So did I.
Yeah, I didn't cut
I
mine.
was wondering
either.
why mine looks so weird.
Because
don't
I
think
had
it
this
looks-
piece of silver string laying on my desk, and I was like, "Oh, this is for the card. That's what she's talking about." And then I was like, "No, wait, what do we do with this
Oh,
flat
no, you know
silver
what
stuff?"
though? You cut it in half as opposed to half lengthwise.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I did.
no, I just had other silver string laying on my table that I thought came out of the
Oh.
package,
Gotcha.
and that there was both kinds on there.
You guys need a caffeine jolt or something before we get to our next card?
We need something, obviously, because we're just not understanding anything.
Well, no, because I kind of
Well,
did.
I was probably washing my hands when she was talking about that.
Well, I was giving, yes, it was like, yeah, blame me. It's good.
That's okay. We all have big shoulders.
Yeah.
I'm just going to see if I can fix it, but I doubt it.
Well, I got my dimensionals, that's fine, so I'm good.
Yeah, you can just lift with your little lifter tool, lift it up, do it again. And then for this next one, we're going to need garden green and pool party. Spritzer.
Garden green and pool party.
I just gotta go grab my pool party. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you bet.
Get on the list. I'll be right back.
Oh, good.
That looks better.
Yeah, I forgot to add to the list, but I couldn't go back in and add it. Good. I'm glad it looks better.
And this one we're using pool party with. My pool party's over
And
there.
these little pool party strips were embossing in that falling snow embossing folder. So if you're ready to play, you can go ahead and run those through.
The heaviest part or the
Yeah, the dark. Yes, exactly. Sorry. That is, I believe that's the darkest part. Let me just double check that.
You tired then, Trisha, after being up till 3 a.m.?
Oh God, yeah. I was so tired yesterday. I didn't do it yesterday. I just did it Friday. I did the dark one. Because this one's the light one, but I did dark. Red dark. Then what did I have to do after that? I had to wake up. I had to go do something. Oh, well, I was supposed to do craft room cleanup, but that didn't happen. I didn't get up till like just before 11. Well, then I just thought because then I had my in-person class, but I was tired. But poor Kira, because she had to go to work this morning. Usually we're there by 10. Today we want to be there by 9 because we had other stuff to do this afternoon. But I didn't wake her up because I thought she had a plan and knew what she was doing. She didn't wake up till 11. So usually we're gone from her work by noon, but today we're just getting there at noon. And there was no parking on White Ave. Oh my God, it was such a long show. Never again can we be late.
I would have never thought garden green and pool party.
I know, me either. Me either.
I'm hoping we can just glue those pieces onto the front of the smoky slate piece.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm just trying to find my card. So you've got your 2 card bases that you can go ahead and fold in half. These are our card fronts, which we're not doing anything with quite yet. We've got 2 pieces of DSP, you've got your string, and you've got 2 of these. Oh, and you have your circles. So what's going to happen if you have the falling snow, you can run these pieces through the embossing folder for falling snow. And if you don't, that's okay. You can use like your snowflakes, your stamps that are in your kit. I'm doing the falling snow though with the dark side up. Whoops, I'm doing it wrong. If I want the dark side up, I need to make sure the dark side is facing up towards the Stampin' Up! Logo. That's how I know it's going to emboss the way I need it to. So the dark side facing up inside with the Stampin' Up! Logo on the top. Just going to run that through the machine. And because they're small, I can do them both at the same time. Now, again, if you want to sand them, you can. With this particular one, I didn't, just to show you what it looked like without sanding. But, you know, I don't use this paper for no reason. I like this sanding. But I also have to be able to find my sanding block. Then what you can do is start mounting these. So what I did is I took the designer series paper first, just put adhesive, just my regular seal. And when I mount this, I'm mounting it so that there's a mat all around the sides, the bottom and the sides. So that looks like this. And then I'm going ahead and I'm putting adhesive on my embossed piece, and then I'm just lining it up. But same thing, I want to just make sure there's mat around the edges. It should line up perfectly. You might have to overlap this. But if you don't get it perfectly, we're going to be tying string over that. So I'll just do that again on this card. Oh, shoot. We needed to stamp first, you guys, because we need that to dry. I'm going to stop you guys in the middle of where we are, just because. Okay. So you should have another white piece that we had cut in half. which is 6 by 7 3/4. We've got pool party and garden green. You need your big snowflake, again, for this project, as well as the word that I'm using for this one is you are a one-of-a-kind, wonderful friend. But for the snowflake, we're also going to need our blending brush in garden green. So if you were using the same blending brush, again, the same thing, go try and rub it off as much as you possibly can on another piece of paper just to get the ink off as much as you possibly can. And then the trick is when we go in to use the garden green, we're not going to like rub it in the ink pad just because we don't want to risk getting any of that on it. We'll just do a little bit of tapping. So for this snowflake, you guys are making 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 snowflakes per card. So 8 snowflakes is what you need. So I'm hoping that with these pieces, you have enough. You'll have some scrap left over as well. Use whatever scrap you have. Now, keep in mind that we're tucking a bunch of things, or we're even cutting out a lot of the small snowflakes. So if you can't get it all to fit on a page, just get enough to fit a small snowflake and you should be fine. So what we're doing with this is we are inking up our big block in pool party ink. You can barely see it just because it's so light. And then just like we did the first card, I'm tapping in my garden green. And then I'm tapping just kind of all around my snowflake. But where the magic happens is now you're not going to want to do this on your surface. You're going to want to turn around and spray this in the air or spray this away from where you're working. But let me just move this over here. So I'm spritzing. You just need 1 or 2 spritzes, not much more than that. And then just quickly stamp and lift. And now you have this beautiful spritzed watercolor snowflake. It's so pretty. But again, you're going to have to just wipe it off in between each snowflake. So you're going to wipe it off and repeat. So again, just stamping fully in the pool party, but then with your blending brush, tap. Just randomly. Then spritz just once or twice. And then stamp on your paper. But remember, try and stay, 2 of them can be separated so you can cut them out. The others you can stamp close together because you're going to just cut out the centers of them, right? To try and maximize getting 8 snowflakes. Yeah. 1 or 2 spritz depending on whether you miss or not. I just missed a lot. I just absolutely love the look of these spritz snowflakes. They make me happy. Obviously, it depends which color you like more. If you want more of the pool party showing, then you would slightly tap. You might not want as much green on there. Hopefully I can see that. Each one is unique. Not one snowflake is the same.
Is that the truth?
And then of course you have to let them dry before you cut them out. But then that, oh, you'll still need your garden green though. You can put away your pretty, we're done with that. And with the big snowflake. And while that is drying, what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and do my circles. And so I'm using the dark side of my, oh no, I think this is full part. This is the cardstock that I use, not the two-tone on here. And so I'm just stamping my words in garden green, centered in my circle. Again, not a combo that I normally would have done, but because of this designer series paper, you guys all know how I choose to stamp. It goes paper, ink, and stamps. That's my 3-step process. I pick the paper I want to use first. And because we were doing snowflakes, I knew I wanted to use the snowflake paper. So now the paper dictates what colors I need to go with it. So there's pool party, garden green, and then you pick a neutral. So in this case, instead of doing a white background, I chose gray as my neutral. And that's how this color combo became to be. So now that we had the inks, then it's just a matter of picking the stamp set. And because I knew we wanted to do one of a kind, that's the stamp that we're using for this. Now I'm just putting those words on the layered matte circle. It's the lighter green though that I'm mounting these to. So this two-tone paper is 2 sides. One is the true garden green color. The other is a lighter shade. So it's the lighter shade that I'm using to mount my circles to. I'm so excited. Stampin' Up! Had said that they're coming out eventually with all the colors in the two-tone. Now, we won't know what's in the scrapbooking collection that comes out in January, but I'm assuming there'll be some new colors. Okay, and then just because I want to prep these for adhering, I'm actually putting dimensionals on here. 2 of them, one at the top and one at the bottom of the direction that the words are going. Just to have them prepped and ready to go because I can. That's those. And then the next comes this wonderful gray string, of which you're not going to cut because the same thing, we need to make sure that we have enough string to do what we want to do. I want to tie a bow. So therefore, I'm just starting, I'm leaving like enough to kind of help me tie a bow. I'm having that hang. And then I'm just wrapping this around twice. And then I'm going to tie my bow. And I'm tying it to the side of my card, but that doesn't really matter because you can move that around however you wish. And I just want to play with my twiny bow. That works. And then I can go ahead and cut off what I don't need. Hopefully it's enough to get me around the next card. And it's not. I'm going to get to go around once. Well, at least one of them you'll get. One of your cards you'll be able to get a double wrap. The other one you only get a single wrap unless you have some of this twine at home. But you know, we buy that essentials pack because it's got white, black, cream, and gray in it. But I tend to only use the white. So I've had tons of rolls of all these other colors. Gray, I had so much of. So I thought, oh, this is perfect. We'll use it. And I did. I used up every single bit of it. So now it's only black and cream that I have, although it's mostly the cream. I'll have to figure out a project for our next class. But I think cream will go with it. Anyways, all that to say, our card fronts get that twine or we mount them. If that made sense. I'm going to go ahead and fold my card fronts because I haven't done that yet.
Card fronts.
Does anyone have any questions? You guys are all just content. You're good. Just making cards. I'm also going to use dimensionals to mount my card fronts to my card. You don't have to, but I like dimensionals. I think I've said that before. I'm just putting 5, 1 in the center, 1 in each corner. Whoops, I got one. Should just use my pokey tool to pull those off. I don't know why I'm not. And I'm just mounting my card front to the center, like so. Now this is all ready to get our snowflakes. These are the last thing to go on. Our sayings are the very last thing to go on. I'm just prepping my card bases. Off the dimensionals off my card front. And putting it on right here. And apparently I put way too much ribbon on that. No wonder I didn't have enough, but give it a little haircut. See, this bow is much nicer than this bow. Don't you think? Oh. Sometimes I just don't want to sit and mess with bows. I guess that's okay. One's big. Okay. And then you know your paper. Look at that. My paper is all dry already. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out my snowflake. So remember, you just need 2 big snowflakes per card. So 4 big snowflakes. And, oh, I didn't cut out enough snowflakes. I need 4 big ones. Oh, no. 4 big ones, 4 small ones. There we go. I just can't count, apparently. Not at 9:42. But hey, if you guys get done before 10 after 10, you're doing better than the in-person class. It's just harder and different in person too, right? Because I only have 1 stamp set, 1 set of inks, whereas you guys all have your own to kind of use. So it is expected for you guys to be a little quicker. Do you have anyone in mind to receive these cards or a card?
Somebody in Winnipeg,
Oh, very good.
if the strike finishes.
It gets there. Hey, they might not be striking in Winnipeg.
I have a friend coming from Winnipeg on December 12th. They can bring it back for you.
There you go. My gosh, let me tell you, this is really nice having 2 sets of these dies. I can do a lot of cards at once. Or I mean, a lot of snowflakes at once.
Oops. Good night, hon. Have a good sleep. What? Yeah, you can leave it open.
Love you, Jeff.
Love you.
I'm covering up the snowflakes because one of them is really just a big splotch of water.
Yeah, and that's okay. Or use that one to cut out one of the small ones. There's definitely a way to cover everything. And it's okay if it's splotchy of water. If it's splotchy water like this one?
Worse.
Oh. Yeah, do it as a small one.
It literally has no snowflake definition.
Aw.
Gosh.
Then it's the perfect small snowflake. One of my snowflakes didn't cut out. Do you think I can align it so that it perfectly cuts it out again?
They usually sit back in the groups.
Let's hope. Let's see what happened. I didn't have my sandwich proper. Can you imagine this in pink? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to make some pink ones. Color combo that I wanted. I'll just post pictures. Okay, so now that we have some snowflakes cut out, what I'm doing is I'm putting both of my big ones that are going on this card, dimensionals, but I'm putting the dimensional kind of like right smack in the middle so that I can still tuck other snowflakes underneath. And I'm tucking my snowflakes underneath my string. And I'm just making sure that I don't go over kind of the edge of my card front. That's where I'm lining it to. And then the other one, I'm just going to tuck underneath, same thing.
Did you put a dimensional on the first one?
Yep, right
Okay.
in the center.
I was paying attention, but I didn't hear it.
It's all good. And so this one, I'm just putting down just slightly lower than the first one I put down. And then again, I'm just going to use a glue dot to mount my small ones in behind. And so I'm just tucking it so that it's just sticking out, and you just kind of fit it wherever makes sense, like wherever looks good. There's no wrong or right placement, but it's just tucking it so that you can see snowflakes, you can see different things. And that's what I did. And then once I have that in place, then I'm just peeling my You Are One Kind of Wonderful, and then I'm just layering it over top of the string. You can kind of pick, again, there's no wrong or right reason where it's going. Because these are higher though, you might want to double dimensional the one because it kind of goes on a slant there. I forgot about that. So I'll do that on my next one that I end up layering. Again, I'm just as a double for my second card. I'm putting dimensionals directly in the center of these big snowflakes. And then paying attention to where I cut this out. So you can see I've got a whole lot of white space that's showing there. And that's because I cut it out kind of funny, but that's not a big deal. I can use that. I might actually save that to be my second snowflake actually. So this one's my first one. Again, I'm mounting this over top of the string, just making sure that I don't go over the card front. And then I'll take that other one because I had all that extra white space that I didn't like. It's going to get tucked behind this big snowflake. Again, I'm just tucking everything under here and I'm just going to hide all that extra white space here. I'm going to leave it higher instead of bring it lower just as a way to correct that white space because I didn't like the way that snowflake looked. There's a way to fix everything. So don't worry. There's no mistakes. There's just creative creations. Again, it's just going to be a unique card. Not one is going to be the same. But remember I said I'm doing a double dimensional. So at the bottom of the words, I have a single dimensional there, a double down here, and that'll fix my problem about having it high up there and low down here because I just realized I didn't tuck that first one underneath the string, but now it doesn't lie flat. I don't know if you can see this. This one's just sitting nicely. This one's like bent flat because it didn't have a double dimensional on it. And then if you want some extra bling bling, you can go ahead and flicker some Winkastella on your snowflakes. I don't feel like it needs it with this particular one. I did do it on the sample. It's got some gold in there, but honestly, these look just great without it. We don't always have to shine things up. And being that Wicked's about to be released, don't you think it's just kind of ironic that green snowflake cards are kind of a thing? Oh.
Wicked's about to be released? What do you mean?
Yeah, the movie.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, Kira got her tickets today. And because didn't I show you what I got myself? I bought myself a Christmas present. I don't know how I did anything with it, but I got myself a little gold card.
Oh, from where?
From Starbucks.
Oh, really? It's a Starbucks Wicked card?
Yeah,
Where did you find that?
at Starbucks.
Oh,
We got to
never
go to
been to Starbucks.
Starbucks tomorrow, Cheryl.
Yeah, they came out like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago.
I never go in the store.
Yeah. Well, at the drive-thru, you can ask. They didn't actually have it on display. And it comes in a really cute box. I got it on day one. And of course, they didn't know what they were supposed to do with them. So I missed out on the cool gift box it comes in. But if you're looking for a cool gift idea, just ask them at the till. Or like as you go through drive-thru.
Oh, really?
It's a minimum $50 card load though, FYI.
Wow.
Because it's a gold card.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a thick, but you could find a nice keychain or something to put it on. Oh my God, that'd be perfect for one of your granddaughters if they like that.
Yes, Alicia likes her Starbucks.
See, none of my family would ever in a million years buy me things like that. So when I see them, I need to get them. Otherwise, I'm never getting it.
There you
No,
go. And
it's
that makes
whether
perfect
she
sense
likes
to me.
Wicked or not, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, well, we all went to Wicked when that first came.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I took the girls to it.
Yeah, you have to. And text me when you find it, because I'll ask at my Starbucks when I go by too. They also have these ones though. These are just your everyday ones.
Oh, Emerald City.
Yeah. So look, I'll have to turn one of these into a gift card holder. Another Make It Monday idea.
Oh my God, girl.
It matches that card perfectly.
I
You have
know.
way too many ideas. I'm just ready for bed.
Well, it's just because we were talking about it.
But you came up with the idea, didn't you? All right. Good. I'm still trying to cut out all these frickin' snowflakes.
Do you have the dies or are you cutting them by hand?
No, I have the dies. I was at least that smart about dyes. Some days I'm
Me
smart.
too.
Well, how come I have the wrong numbers here? Did I do one extra one or something?
Okay, so anyways, I shared with everyone how this looks. So I'm going to turn the recording off here. And thanks everyone for joining the group, but please make sure that you end up posting your pictures. We'd love to see all your one-of-a-kind cards because they all are going to be. And if you have any questions, just message me or put it in the chat because I'm sure if you've got questions, other people do, and we'll get those answered for you. Thanks again.